What's going on, fam? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. We have a lot to cover in today's video, but first, welcome to 2023. We made it. We made it through 2022. It didn't take us out. If you're hearing my voice, you have another chance at making life better for you and your family. But we've got some updates I want to share with you guys. I've got some concerns that I want to cover that I've received from a number of our family members. I consider you guys family. This is going to affect 6 cities in particular. We're going to talk about that in this video. We're going to talk about Social Security updates. We're going to talk about the COLA. We're going to briefly talk about the latest on SNAP and EBT benefits that a lot of people are asking me about. It's crazy what is happening here and the big changes that Congress is pushing for going into 2023. Americans with assets, Americans without assets, and what we can do about this going forward. Now, we have to talk about some of these things first. Let's go ahead and dive into the big elephant in the room, Social Security. Some of these big Social Security changes are going to be taking effect come 2023. And we're here now, right? So right here, right now, Social Security changes, we are actually seeing historically high COLAs. So this 8.7% increase that we're seeing for the Social Security COLA for 2023 is the highest since the 11.2% hike that we saw back in 1981. I was barely even 1 year old at that point. So, but anyway, long time ago since we saw that. You can ultimately thank this COLA raise, this COLA increase, thanks to inflation, thanks to the borderline hyperinflation that we've seen. And of course, we've got the reactionary effect from your favorite person in the world, Fed Chair Jerome Powell of the Federal Reserve, raising interest rates in order to combat the inflation. Unfortunately, many of you have already let me know, hey, Ron, this COLA it's not affecting everyone the same way. Some checks are going to be bigger than others. My check might not necessarily be as big as I need it to be. For example, maximum benefits for Social Security claimants at full retirement age will be $3,627 a month in 2023. And this comes directly from the SSA, the Social Security Administration. Now, if your Social Security check is not necessarily $3,600 a month, I understand, not everyone's going to get the same amount. Unfortunately, a lot of different variables come into effect. So the question is, well, what do I do to get my income up higher? Because although the COLA increase for you might have only been an extra $100 a month, I don't know what yours is, but your rent might be going up. A lot of people are letting me know that, okay, my COLA went up, my Social Security check, SSI, SSDI, income, direct deposit went up, but my rent went up. And so it's like I gained an extra $100, but my rent went up an extra $125, $150. So I'm actually negative 50. And I'm hearing this more and more. And this is concerning me. It's concerning a lot of people. And if you take this in addition to what we're seeing in the housing market and the rental market, rents are going up. Landlords they're looking to cover their own expenses. These entrepreneurial landlord real estate investors who are renting their properties out, they're raising their rents, not to make it harder on low and middle income families, but they have higher expenses as well. As you know, real estate has appreciated at a record pace, and with record real estate appreciation, property taxes have gone up drastically in a lot of areas. We've also seen the fact that insurance companies have been raising their insurance premiums for owner-occupant real estate as well as rental property and commercial property. Why? Well, because the real estate has appreciated so fast, the insurance companies now have a higher, more expensive item that they have to cover in case of disaster, or in case a claim is filed. These insurance companies are saying, hey, your property used to be, say, $500,000, but that was back in 2020. Now, today, here we are, 2023, your same property that was $500,000 is now $650,000, right? So your property went up $150,000. So now the insurance company has to cover their butt and say, hey, we have to raise your premium. This raises the mortgage payment because most mortgage payments have the insurance premium or the insurance tied into escrow, and it's in the mortgage payment. So as the real estate investor, the entrepreneur who owns this real estate property that's renting it out to, whoever the renter is, whoever the tenant is, they have to cover their own expenses. And in order to do that, they have to raise rents. And so there's a big situation on why rents are going up in a lot of cases. Not all cases, but a lot of cases. But here's another concerning fact is that, a lot of people are saying, hey, Social Security went up, or SSI direct deposits have gone up, but my EBT or SNAP benefits went down because they're saying that I make more money or I'm getting more money. My income has increased. So my benefits in other areas have declined. So it's like the government is giving money in one. Sometimes people say, the government talks out of two sides of their mouths. It's like the government's giving money or increasing income on the one side, but on the other side, they're taking it away. And it's like the average American's not able to get ahead. And so we're going to talk more about that later in this video. Many of you guys in my Patreon group have been asking more questions, and not even just the Patreon group. And I'm really happy to see the questions that I'm seeing in there. But I'm getting a lot of questions here in the comments of these videos, asking questions about, where should I be putting my money? I don't have that much, but I do want my money growing. I need to be investing. I understand I need to be investing. Should I invest in XRP Ripple? Should I be investing in cryptocurrency? Should I consider investing in passive or precious metals such as gold, maybe silver? I'm looking at starting to invest in the stock market with a small amount of money as a beginner. How do I get started in the stock market? And, with the direction that the economy is going, the fact that we are likely to be expecting a recession right here in 2023, how can I best prepare my family for these events? Should I start investing now? Should I get involved in the stock market? And then of course, real estate, rents are going up. Should I try to get a mortgage and buy a home in this market right now? Or should I hope and pray that real estate, should I hope and pray that the real estate market, the housing market collapses, thus driving down the expense and cost of getting involved in real estate? Maybe rents would go down, but more importantly, maybe the cost to purchase homes would go down in value, making it less expensive to purchase so that you could ultimately begin your real estate ownership process. You can acquire real estate as an asset and no longer be dependent or worried about whether or not your landlord is going to raise your rent, or even worse, this is what I've been seeing more and more lately. Some landlords, not only are they raising rates or raising the rent, some landlords are simply taking their rental properties off the market and no longer allowing the renters who may have been there for, a couple years, 5-10 years, no longer allowing them to even rent the property, forcing families out of these properties. So this does, a couple of different things. Number one, sometimes it forces families to have to find a new property that they can rent if they're not in the financial position to be able to purchase rental property or to purchase real estate or to purchase a single family residence. Or if they're not able to do that, then they have to rent. But unfortunately, some landlords were not necessarily raising rents to keep up with the market. So a shock that a lot of the families that I've been kind of hearing from have been indicating is that they realized that when they needed to move, the market rent was tremendously higher than what they were paying. So let's just say, for example, you've stayed in a rental property for the last 5 years and they haven't raised the rents, and you've been paying, $1,200 a month for the last 5 years. Well, in almost all cities, rents have been increasing. So if your landlord hasn't been raising rents and then suddenly they say, hey, I know your lease is about to expire, but we're not going to renew your lease, you now have to find a new place to stay. if you go out there and you start looking around and you realize, oh, wow, rents for the same 2-bedroom apartment that you've been renting, or the same 2 or 3-bedroom home that you were renting, they're no longer $1,200. You may go out there and find out, oh, now they're $2,200 per month. Well, that's an increase of $1,000 per month. What are we going to do? So this is a legitimate problem that many families are facing right now. Some entrepreneurial real estate investors that have been renting properties out to tenants for years are now looking to cash in. Some of them are concerned about the future of real estate, at least in the short term. I've been getting more and more questions about this. How do I prepare for an economic collapse? What if this Russia-Ukraine situation continues to go down and diesel prices continue to raise? Will there be economic collapse? Will there be food shortages going into 2023? And what about EBT and SNAP allotments, emergency allotments in 2023? Many states are cutting back. How do I prepare? Social Security increase for 2023. These are the sorts of questions that I'm getting, and the legitimate concerns. There are legitimate concerns. I don't know if I'm convinced that food shortages will be a huge issue, but food shortages for the average person could show up in the form of not having enough money to afford enough food to fully feed families. I think those are the legitimate kind of food shortages that could be seen. I don't think that we're going to see empty shelves, for example, the way we had seen previously. So that's my take on that. Now, there are 3 major Social Security changes that Joe Biden actually wants Republicans to support. And it looks like the Republicans may actually support some of these big changes, right? So Democrats and Republicans, we know they don't necessarily agree on too much, but there is some solid support for some Social Security reform. And we've heard from senators, lawmakers such as Bernie Sanders really pushing for some of these big reform changes in Social Security. So since Social Security is on track to be insolvent by 2035, and this is a big concern. So one of the things that it looks like President Biden wants to do, and may actually have the backing of Republicans, is he wants to increase the payroll tax cap. Now, this is a big change coming from the White House. If they can get the full buy-in on this, looks like in 2023, the maximum salary subject to Social Security payroll taxes will be $160,000. Up from $147,000 in income back in 2022. So this is going to increase how much Social Security is taking in the form of taxes, which will allow them to potentially extend how long they can pay out benefits and maybe even offer future increases for Social Security recipients. They want to raise the minimum benefit. President Biden wants to implement a true minimum benefits for retirees who receive Social Security. During his presidential campaign, he proposed setting the minimum benefit for anyone who worked at least 30 years to 125% of the federal poverty level. And also he wanted to change how the COLA is calculated. So, the big story for Social Security this year has been this huge cost of living, this COLA adjustment announced for 2023. It has received a lot of criticism, and rightfully so. But the thing is part of the criticism comes from the fact that not everyone's going to be getting this 8.7% COLA. And this is a concern. And so a lot of people have, been commenting and reaching out to me asking, hey, Ron, what can I do now to increase my income? Maybe want to start a home-based business from the house. Maybe I'm not able to or not willing to leave the house due to the current circumstances and whatnot. So a lot of people have been reaching out with these questions. What can I do now? And I've had some very interesting conversations with folks. Some people turn out to be best to just, maybe become a virtual assistant. So basically a virtual assistant is one who basically is an administrative assistant to some extent for another entrepreneur, maybe a business, but you get to work from your house. So virtual assistants is a pretty popular way of generating income that you can do from your home. And I'm a big fan of that one, actually, especially if you're getting started and you just, you need some fairly quick cash, not bad. And you can actually learn some skills. Some people are actually selling stuff on Craigslist and on eBay. And I've actually talked to people about this, cleaning out their houses, selling stuff on eBay, Craigslist, Let Go, Facebook Marketplace, even on Amazon. You can sell used products on Amazon. A lot of people don't realize that, but you can make a lot of money from home selling items on these different platforms and just kind of cleaning out your house and doing that. And you can then take that money and obviously we could talk about this at length. And we do talk about this at length in our Patreon group. If you're interested in learning more about ways of generating income from home, definitely hit the Patreon link, join the Patreon group in the description of this video down below. I'd love to see more of you guys over there. And many of you have already joined, and this is where I'm getting a lot of these questions from. But we also talk about, even if you don't have stuff to sell, how to get free stuff that you can then sell on these platforms. So, there's lots of different ways that you can create income sources for yourself and for your family in any market. Trading cryptocurrency. Now, cryptocurrency is definitely one of the more recent technologies that are out here. You got Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Ripple. You've got Shiba Inu coin. And a lot of millionaires have actually been made by trading cryptocurrency. Now, you can also take advantage of the current boom in cryptocurrency by trading it through platforms like eToro and Kraken. Now I'm not endorsed by these companies and I'm not endorsing these companies, but I'm just saying, as an example, different types of platforms could be used to trade those cryptocurrencies if that's your thing. Now, a lot of you guys have already worked multiple jobs, and I would personally take some of those skills that I've had and leverage those skills and offer tutoring, which you can do online. So you can literally work from home, create a small business. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. You don't necessarily need an LLC or to create an S Corp or C Corporation or anything like that. You could just, if you wanted to, just getting started, chances are, look at the local, city laws that you have to abide by. But chances are in most cities, you can just be a sole proprietor, doing your own thing, tutoring on the side, maybe a side hustle. And you'd be surprised how much people would be willing to pay you to teach them. And there's different platforms where you can just say, hey, I've got experience cooking. I've got experience working on cars. I've got experience speaking a second language, maybe tutoring people how to speak Spanish, tutoring people how to speak English. You'd be surprised how many people are paying lots of money to learn how to speak English. Let's talk about Fiverr. A lot of people have been asking, hey, I've got some skills, but I don't really know how to market my skills. I want to tutor people. Where do I go to teach people? Like, how do I get clients? How do I get people to pay me to do the things that I already know how to do? And this is why, I always tell my family members in Patreon that everyone has a skill, and that skill is valuable. You just need to understand how to market that skill so that you can make money teaching others or using that skill. So there's platforms like Fiverr. There's platforms, gig platforms like Upwork, where you can go on there and literally set your own price. I have actually found people charging over $300 an hour for certain tasks. And, and most people don't even need to make $300 an hour. I think most people that I talk to would probably be very, very happy just making something like, I don't know, an extra $100 a day. And that would be a win. So, anyway, I wanted to just kind of share some of these ideas with you guys because a lot of people are asking these types of questions. How do I best prepare for these changes that are coming down the pipeline? How do I how do I increase my net worth? How do I better position my family for these higher expenses that are coming down the pipeline? We've already seen this. Higher food prices at the grocery store, Walmart, Target, Costco, Kroger, Publix, everything's more expensive, all the food. And if that's not enough, you've got this nuclear attack that we keep hearing about, right? And the conversation is a little startling because it's like, I feel like this conversation is coming up more and more and more. And this information came out recently talking about the top cities that could likely be one of the top cities that could be targeted right here in the United States if hypothetically there was a nuclear attack, right? So it's a little concerning, but they're indicating that this list of 6 urban areas that they believe could potentially be the most likely targets of a nuclear attack are New York, Chicago, Houston, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Washington, D.C. Now, these cities are not only some of the largest cities in the country, but they're also some of the most expensive cities in the country. I'm sure their rents are going up, $500 increases probably wouldn't be out of the ordinary. And these cities could be potentially targeted because they're, number one, the most dense, and two, they're home to critical infrastructure like energy plants, financial hubs, government facilities, and wireless transmission systems that are vital to United States security. So, just to kind of put that out there, these are the things we need to be getting prepared for. And financial security is going to be closer and closer to number one. Anyway, I wanted to make sure I got this information out to my YouTube fam, to my Patreon family. If you guys want to take it to the next level, if you want to learn more about starting a small business, learning about side hustles, and increasing your income, and hopefully also increasing your net worth, definitely in the description of this video, you'll see a link to join the Patreon family. I look forward to seeing you guys over there. I wish you guys the best of luck. Welcome to 2023, and y'all be safe.